Hey everyone, Aussie Viking here for another video. Now, I've had a few days to think about The Force Awakens, read other opinions, and just come to a verdict for now. And I was wrong. First off, I was wrong. This isn't a 9 out of 10. This is not a 9 out of 10. This isn't a 9.7 out of 10 that IGN gave it, but, you know, fuck IGN. They fucking suck. They're full of hipsters, and they just, you know, want the money. This isn't a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes. This is an interesting, divisive film that I want to try to delve into more so than my last, like, when I finished doing it. So, first and foremost is, there's a lot of good, bad, and weird in this, and it's rather interesting. So, I went to film school, and I've dwelled into a lot of, like, how you can tell a story, metaphorical ways, into how complex dialogue can be, and how much dialogue can open up, and just how a shot with music can change a scene, create a world, stuff like that. And I've dwelled in that. And there are many, many ways to tell a story that I learnt. And this is one of them that works in a lot of good ways. There's a lot of metaphorical themes. There's a lot of, like, you've got to really pay attention ideas. And there's a lot of symbolism in this film. Although, what would you expect from Rian Johnson? He's a great director. But it's not done in ways that I feel like was good. I feel like it could have stretched it out more, made it more open for people to go, oh, okay, so that's what they did. This doesn't really do that. Now, Star Wars has always had a weird way of telling a story. They tell a story in terms of, here's a start, middle, and end, but that start, middle, and end is the whole trilogy. You know, a whole trilogy, a whole film will have a story, but that will lead on to a bigger story, which then connects all the way through, from 1 to 6 to 1 to 6, or 1 to 3, 4 to 6, stuff like that. They have an interesting way to tell a story, which some people say is stupid. I went to a film school, and one of the teachers that taught me, he said that he despised the Lord of the Rings films because they weren't a coherent story in terms of each individual story. You know, they'll set up plot points, but they won't, by the end of the film, they wouldn't be finished. And he didn't really like him. He said there was a few things he liked by special effects and fantasy elements, but he never truly liked it because of the fact that it wasn't a coherent story each individual film. It was one big whole story, which I can get, but I like this way of storytelling too, because, like I said, if you've got a story that you have to break the rules to tell, then do it. So, let's get on to Star Wars Last Jedi. And actually, first of all, I just want to point out this. Critics, I think, were absolutely wrong, like I said before, but this is why I don't care for critics. I don't give a fuck about critics, because I think they're full of shit. Each critic out there has a list now, of what they tick off in terms of what a story in a film has. And if they tick those boxes, then it's a great film for them. But that's not how you review. Reviewers these days don't know jack shit on how to review something objectively. They're all subjective, or, oh, I'm just going to turn a blind eye because of money and free shit. Which happens. Because that's just... I think the best way to describe critics is... Two of the best critics ever were Richard Roper and, oh, bollocks, I forgot his name. Richard Roper and Roger Ebert. That was it. Roger Ebert, Richard Roper. I think they had a critics TV show on from, like, the 90s or mid-80s to, like, late 90s, maybe early 2000s. And they were fantastic. These are the two critics that I loved in life. I didn't agree with all of them all the time when I've watched some of their reviews, but I did enjoy them. Now, here's the thing. They would fight over a film, whether they'll say, like, it's good, what is wrong with you? No, it's terrible, I absolutely think you're wrong. They would literally do that. And that, to me, is the perfect analogy for critics. They will fight over what they like and what they hate, and they're basically just an opinion. An opinion that you might agree with and you might not agree with. An opinion that has some good sense of words to it and bad sense of words. You know, they have good things to say. But that's not all of them, and a lot of them can be full of shit. And you could just tell, this is not a 9.7 or a 93 or a 10 out of 10. It's, honestly, for me, after thinking about it, between a 7 and an 8. Now, this also is a film that will finally get the whole picture once we get to episode 9. Okay, that's probably something with this film that might annoy some people, but it's true. This film, you will fully understand once we get the next one out. But for what it does, there are some objectively iffy bad things in here that don't really make much sense. So let's go work on them. First up, Snoke's death. Okay. Objectively, at least for me, I think that was a good death, okay? It's not the death that was annoying. I thought it was really well done. Uses their own hubris against him. Kylo manipulating the person who basically kicked his ass beforehand and says, no, I am your true master. I thought that was perfect. And he just turns it and then... I thought that was fantastic. But there is a downside to it, obviously. It's killing Snoke midway through the second film of the new trilogy, but also without giving us anything. Episode 7 set him up. He's the emperor of these films, and you kill him off in the second one. The killing isn't the bad part, I think. It's because we know nothing more about him. He's set up as this powerful being, and we see that in the film, but there's no more. And he really should have been killed later on in the movie. He should have been killed at least... He should have had another 10 minutes of screen time. We get to know more about him. We get to see the power he has. We get to know more about him in terms of the character. You know, he could be a very powerful Sith Lord. He could be an ancient enemy. Doesn't matter. You should have given us that more. Objectively, we should have gotten just that bit more of information, even if it was 5 to 10 minutes more. And then kill him off. And if you did it like that, then it would have made more sense. People would still complain that you killed him off, but... This is where the symbolism comes in, metaphorical ideas. So, you'll notice that Snoke in this film is very different from Snoke in The Force Awakens. There is a difference there. Force Awakens, he looks more dead. Even though it's a hologram, people will say that, you know, oh, well, that was a hologram. Fair enough. But he still looks more decayed in the first film than he does in this film. Later on in the film, when Luke does the whole ghost projection thing, force projection, he looks younger. He looks like a younger version, not the exact version of him in The Last Jedi, but he looks like a younger version of himself in The Last Jedi. And I think that's one of the big issues, not issues, but one of the big things that Rian Johnson was trying to tell. Snoke's not dead. He's just pretending to be dead because of the fact that he is powerful. We've seen that. And he looks younger and stuff like that. See, this is the bit where this side of filmmaking comes in where you got to piece things together. And while I like that, there wasn't that much more information here. They really should have added just a bit more screen time so we can take it all in more so than just, oh, sorry, he's this and that. Because in one way, we just see him sitting on a chair. And another way, we saw that Luke was able to create dice that you could hold and actually kiss his sister on the forehead. We saw that. They can physically react with the world. So that point of view, that works. And the way he did die was, even for a Sith, was pretty full on and dumb, I felt. But awesome at the same time, you know. But, I mean, yeah. Because he is, again, the Emperor. He's not Darth Maul. He's not Dooku. He's not Jabba. He's not Grand Moff Tarkin. He is the Emperor. You know, and actually on that, Maul actually did more. You know how people get complained about Maul dying in the first film, Phantom Menace? He did more than Snoke did. And his death actually made sense. Maul went and he actually looked for Anakin. He chased him down. He fought Qui-Gon. He killed Qui-Gon later on. He fought the Jedi to stop them. And he actually succeeded, more or less, in his views. He killed a Jedi, and he was just about to kill another one, but again, his hubris came in, and bam, he got killed. But he did stuff. He did more stuff. All that Snoke does is sit on his throne and say shit. So, yeah. He's not the Darth Maul. I think this is the big thing where, in the next film, if they don't bring him back, then yes, this is a terrible idea. This was terrible from the start. Why did you kill him off? And what was the whole metaphorical things of, or symbolism or whatever, that brought it all together and made you go, there's more to it, you know. I'm hoping they bring him back. It would make a lot more sense, and really his death would be an interesting concept. Now, all that metaphorical stuff and stuff, all that, it's in the film. It's there. But they really should have added a bit more. You know, at the end of the film, you should have had a scene where Hux goes into the main room where he died, and he sees nobody. He looks very surprised, like, what's going on here? And you could have it that Kylo comes in. Or you could just have it with just Hux going in the room and saying, what the hell's going on? And then you could just have Kylo or just a stormtrooper come in and say, what should we tell Kylo, Supreme Leader Kylo, and be like, tell him that we've destroyed the body, you know, we've ashed the body or something like that. That would say, a little scene like that would say that yes, he's coming back. It may be a bit too obvious for some people, and that might be one of the reasons why they didn't have a scene in, or maybe they did a Lucas and they had this giant 3-hour film, because even Rian Johnson said this was a big 3-hour film that he created, and he's like, yeah, we had to cut about half an hour plus out. And it's like, this could be a similar situation where he had a lot of deleted scenes that actually add all this information in, but he cut them out. Very much what Lucas did with the prequels, because yes, I love the prequels, and he had a lot of deleted scenes that he took out that actually really add to the film to make him a lot better. So, it could have been that sort of situation. So that's the Snoke sort of thing. On one perspective, it works because there's just that enough metaphorical side of things to make you go, okay, no, I can see where you're coming from. There's tidbits of information I can add up together that make me say, yes, Snoke's not dead. On the other hand, it's not as cemented in there as some people would want. Therefore, it's bad because they don't believe it. Or you could be in the middle where it's just like, I'm just going to wait for the next film. That's it. That's the three perspectives. And that's the one thing I'm trying to say here. Perspective is everything. There's a perspective for every single viewpoint, negative and positive, in this film that you've got to look at from different perspectives to truly understand. Now, this is why I think critics gave this a big score. They only had that one singular perspective. They never try to change their perspective to what fans see or just things that don't really make sense. So another thing that didn't make sense is the Holdo not telling Poe what's going on. You could literally take 30 minutes of this film out if you just went and said, Holdo went up to Poe and said, yeah, look, I'm going to do this. This is my plan. That's it. If you had Holdo, who is supposed to be a very good general, respect your troops and save your troops, just come in and say, look, this is the plan. There'd be more people alive. You would have, sure, the relationship between Rose and Finn wouldn't be as, I guess, prominent, which might have been one of the main reasons. And it's quite possible that without this arc, Finn might have still rushed him at Crate and died, which, you know, is something that is a perspective that I'm seeing from. But on the other hand, so many people might not have died. You could have just had a separate person come in and just kill it itself. So there's that, okay? There's that side of things, but they could have made it better, you know? Holdo, they could have made it that she's untrustworthy. She doesn't trust anyone but herself. You could have had a line of dialogue, a sentence of dialogue by saying, she was the one that, you know, when Poe's talking about, like, so she's the one that did this, this, and this, and you could have just had the guy or alien he's talking to say, yeah, she had a traitor in her midst, and apparently she's been very tight-lipped about everything she does now. You could have literally said that, and it's like, oh, okay, that's it. Okay, that's why she didn't tell him. And if you gave a good reason why she didn't tell Poe, I would actually be more accepting of this storyline. But on the edge of it, for what the reasons that we get, which is nothing, for her to not tell Poe, it's an objectively bad way to do it. This is a bad thing. This is something, and this is a big bad thing. You know, by one character not saying this, you have all these other deaths, and a kind of boring and tedious Keontae bite sequence. That's bad. That's somewhat bad for some people, and honestly, I think objectively it is quite bad, because we don't get that extra bit of information to say, oh, she's not this trustworthy, or she could have been a First Order recruit or something like that. We never get that. And that's what I get pissed off about certain reviews, because it's like, why don't you mention this? Or if you do mention this, you still give it an A+. What the fuck? Why? This is a literally bad thing that can take the film down for some people, and for a lot of people. You know, like, fuck. You know, I don't want to go on a rant about critics, but I would love to. But it would probably be like a 40-minute long video, so. Next up, let's talk about Rey. Rey in this is definitely better than she was in The Force Awakens, but she's still iffy, and I kind of don't think she's an interesting character. But on this, when she does her training, we only see the Force side of things, which, while interesting, that's it. How is she able to fight the Praetorian Guards as well as she did when she didn't learn to fight with a lightsaber? This is just as bullshit as when she beat Kylo Ren, which they actually mention in the film. Now, in it, we see her have the lightsaber, and she swings it around, cuts a rock off, and that's it. That's all we see her do with the lightsaber. We don't see her do any more training. And hell, the biggest fight scene she has before the Praetorian Guards was with Luke Skywalker with her staff. That's it. She never uses the lightsaber. We never see that, and that's the problem here. For some critics, it's all about the character depth and how they go through and stuff like that, which is fair enough. But for most, it's about the overall story. You know, how does this person get strong? Does she fail? Does she not? We don't see that. And again, that's another bad thing that I would say for the film. And, I mean, funny enough, this film, this is one of the things I like and am interested in with The Last Jedi, is it literally makes The Force Awakens a terribler film. It makes it a more of a bad film. Because Rey now is a Mary Sue. Because she hasn't got that oomph of who she is. Her parents were just junkers. And any sort of reference to her being either a reincarnation or a new chosen one isn't even mentioned. The only thing that you mentioned to anything to sort of a Chosen One prophecy or anything like that is the dark side and the light side would grow in power. As your dark side grew in power, the light version of you grew in power. Okay, so that's the only thing that Kylo is the dark side and Rey is the light side. But why? Why didn't we get anything more? You think that when you go to Ahch-To, they would have been like, oh yeah, by the way, there's this Chosen One prophecy, and my dad was the Chosen One, and sort of like did some stuff, and I think there might be a new balance coming. Like, there was nothing like that at all, not even metaphorically, not even symbolically, at least from what I saw. And that kind of pisses me off, because now Rey is a Mary Sue, at least in the first one. I mean, she's still pretty full on in the second one, but she's more so a Mary Sue in the first one. It's like, there's no reasoning. And you're going to wait till even if they do give us an answer in the third film, it's like you're going to wait to the last film in the series to undo all this shit you've done. Even I'm going to be like, hang on here. Calm the fuck down a bit. The only reference that you really have of such a connection is between the whole, light and dark thing that Snoke says. That's it. Because Snoke even says that he connected them to, bridged them to do together. Which is another reason why I think he's still alive, because that connection's still there, even after his death. You know. But it's just, really? You don't see her fight, you don't see her do this, you don't see her do that, you don't see her become any sort of Jedi in any way, shape or form, and she's just perfectly able to do it. That's bullshit, and that's bullshit from a character perspective, from a writing perspective, and from a filmmaking perspective. That is bullshit. Absolute bullshit. If you're going to have a person that's very strong and powerful, either do a time skip, so the idea of her training in the meantime makes sense, which is what we got in the prequels with Anakin in the second film. He was bang and stuff. Even then, he failed. You know, he didn't. If Rey was the one that fought Count Dooku in Attack of the Clones, Rey would have won. Why? Who knows? She just would have won. You know, at least Anakin failed. Anakin failed in the prequels, and that's why I think he's one of the better characters here, because he fails. He's a chosen one, sure, and he's faster at learning how to do abilities, but he still failed. Rey? Nope, doesn't fail. We don't see her train, we don't see her do this, she doesn't fail. Okay, fine. Rey in this, yeah. So that's another thing. We don't see Rey, we don't see this, we don't see this, we don't get any sort of idea of why she's so good. There is some symbolic things, I think, like when she's like, and it's the whole line of her and she's like moving around and it's like, oh, who am I? And, you know, I always thought that the bit where she's looking at, like, her two parents come towards her and it's just her, I thought that was a sort of like, oh, she had a virgin birth, or she's a new reincarnation or a chosen one. I hope they don't go the chosen one route, because that kind of destroys Anakin's story, but yeah. So that's that side of things, which was still a bit, it's just weird. It's honestly weird, and I look at it and go, no, I don't think I like this. I don't think I like that at all, because it doesn't work from a story perspective at all. But okay, that's that. Let's go to the big one, I think, that a lot of people are annoyed about, and objectively, I would agree. Luke. So, this whole entire film, I believe, is getting critically acclaimed because there is good character depth and good characterization in terms, right? But that's only, honestly, for the film, that's only two characters. Kylo Ren and Luke. Kylo Ren is a very good, in-depth character, I think. I thought it was really well done. I thought him turning to the dark side, at least the end bit, was quite interesting in terms of he saw a fear. He saw a fear of his grandfather, or not grandfather, his uncle or whatever, almost trying to kill him, and he acted as anyone would. I thought that was fantastic. However, the Luke side of things is what pisses me off and really, really sucks. So you're telling me that, again, this was built up in the first one, instead of going to Ahch-To to look for the first Jedi's temple and basically learn the ways of the Force. Alright, sorry about that, my GoPro was screwing up again, probably because of the rant. So, we're on to Luke Skywalker on Ahch-To. Now, in episode 7, again, it's set up that he went there because he was there for a purpose. Either to find the first Jedi temple, so it's like, oh, he's finding knowledge and stuff like that. And possibly to fight Snoke and save Ben. He even left a map, which I thought was quite good. Now, we get into the film, right? And what do we get? We get the lion, and he says this, I came here to die. Now, that goes against a lot of what episode 7 set up again, which was quite dumb. Like, that's the thing. There's a lot of big wow moments. All these things set up and they're just destroyed. And it's like, yeah, some of them work. And some of them are fucking dumb. But anyway, this is one of them. So Luke is basically there to die. Okay. Why did you leave a map? Never explained. Never explained. Why did you leave a map to people to find you? What? Did you have a contingency plan that when you died, R2-D2 would be like, oh, he's dead. Alright, guys, let's go and collect his body. Like, really? Really? It's always a bit weird, too. It is a bit weird that that was in the film. Like, really? Did nobody watch The Force Awakens and go, oh, well, he never meant, why was he here? Why would he leave a map? If there was no map in the first film, then yeah, that line would make sense. But there is a map. He wanted to be found, but then he doesn't want to be found. It doesn't make much sense. It's a weird characterization. And that makes no sense, even to Luke. The biggest and most annoying characterization, I think, is what happens to Luke in terms of the overall arc. I don't like it. First of all, he didn't need to die. At all. That was the dumbest bullshit ever. And it really makes me feel like Disney's like, nah, fuck it, let's just kill all the OT trilogy fucking characters. Why? Because why not? Why? Why did you kill him? That doesn't make any sense. And I know. Well, he'll be back as an awesome Force Ghost. Okay. But, okay, if he's going to be back, why did you kill him? Why not just be like, oh, he'll be back in the next one? So, why did you turn him to a Force Ghost? What's the fucking point? This entire trilogy, to me, reminds me of... And this is just going to go on a little tangent here compared to what I was going to go to. But it reminds me of the extended universe. Remember the extended universe when Luke actually built a Jedi temple that wasn't destroyed? He actually built a new reign of Jedi and stuff like that? It seems like, especially after the end of this film, we're going to get something like that. And I'm pretty certain we'll get a time jump between episodes 7 and 8. 8 and 9, sorry. But it feels like what Disney's going to do is like, you know what? We could have had Luke create a whole new army of Jedi and go through a lot of hell, but, Jedi are still around and so is he as a Grandmaster. Or we put some SJW undertones in these films and make a female lead be the next Grandmaster Luke. Like, that's what they feel like they're doing. At the end of this, Rey's like, basically the next Jedi. She's the last Jedi at the end of this film. And it's like, she'll rebuild the Jedi. Why? She didn't do any fucking training. How is she gonna... Oh, we'll do a time skip and Ghost Luke will teach her. Okay, most likely. That's most likely what's gonna happen. But it seems like they're basically taking Grandmaster Luke, post-OT, old canon universe, and giving it to Rey. Because, fuck the main characters. Like, I don't want to say this, but there is some social justice warrior bullshit in these films now. It's not as prominent as a lot of people have you think, but it's there. You got a Mary Sue in the first one. She's now basically the last Jedi in this one with not much respect as to why. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit, I think. I'm all for a female lead, but she's boring. Kylo's better. Let's just deal with that, okay? But anyway, back to Luke. Luke in this is definitely weird. So, when Kylo turns, I actually like that. I actually liked how Kylo turns. Luke can feel the darkness in him, and he's about to light his lightsaber, he puts it down. I thought that was a great moment, and very powerful. And then Kylo sees the wrong bit. He just sees the end. He sees the end just before the light goes out. He just sees it, and he wakes up thinking he's going to get killed. I like that. I thought it was a very powerful moment. However, it was very much un-Luke. Why? Oh, there's darkness I can sense in him. I better kill him. I mean, instead of talking to him and trying to help him out, I'll fucking kill him. Let's go back to the original trilogy here when he went to his father. He found a source of light in his father, in a sea of darkness, and went, you know what? I'm not going to kill him. I'm going to save his life. In this one, you know what? I'm going to kill him, not save his life. It's so un-Luke, especially considering he went through something similar with Vader, which was far crazier. And he's like, no, I'll save my father, who I never really knew. Here, I'll kill my grandson or whatever the hell it is. And why? Like, really? Ryan? You're a great writer, but why? That doesn't add up. That goes against Luke's character and even common sense, really. And it's like, you're going to have him do that? And why? I mean, I do respect this film. There's a lot of good symbolism, metaphorical side of things, and a lot of great ideas here. But there are decisions like that that make me go, why the fuck is that in the film? I'm really hoping that when we get the Blu-ray of this, or whatever the fuck they're going to bring out, 4K, Blu-ray, whatever, DVD, when they bring out the viewable home version, we get a shit ton of deleted scenes, either put back into the film or just there and it's now it's canon. I would love that, because I'm betting there are deleted scenes in this film that actually help this film a lot, but they were taken out because whatever reasons. I'm angry at this film. Nowhere near as angry as I was with Force Awakens, which was, oh my god, if that rant gets qualified to come onto YouTube because of Disney and shit, you're in for a real treat there. But this one is definitely better than Force Awakens. I've definitely said that, but there's still moments in this where I'm like, really, you could have done so much more. Another thing I want to talk about is the sound, the music in these films. They're not that good. If you go watch the original trilogy and even the prequels, the sound is a character in itself. In these films, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, don't get me wrong, the music in this is still done better than it was in, say, The Force Awakens, which had almost no sound, but here it's still a bit lower. It doesn't feel like a character like it was in the other films. It feels like it's just there, and it doesn't work. It does not work. So, yeah, this is, like, I know there's a lot to talk about with this film. And I kind of wanted to go back to Luke's death, which I know it's like iffy, but in Luke's death, while it's a great way that they did it in terms of, you know, he's really powerful and he did all this Force projection, that was a great scene in itself. And the action scenes in this are fantastic. The comedy is terrible, but I'll get to that after I get to this. But his death, he didn't need to die. He didn't need to die. You know what could have happened? He could have been looking like he was about to die. You know, because afterwards he's like sweating and all that, and it's like, okay, cool. I see that. I understand that. He looks like he's going to die. And just as he's about to give in, a hand comes onto his shoulder, and it's Anakin's hand from the Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, metal hand. And that's it. You don't even have to show Hayden's face. You could just literally show the hand going onto him and having a voice saying, I'm proud of you, or you're not done, you're not finished yet. You know, you could have done something like that, and that not only would have bridged between what comes next and been really interesting, but it's a better way. You know, he stopped his death was stopped by his father, which, you know, is something that happened in episode 7. It would have been very symbolic as well, and it would have made sense because in the film Luke is away. He cuts himself off from the Force, and when he brings himself back to the Force, he sees Yoda, and it would make sense that later on he sees his father. But now we're going to get a scene probably with him and his father at the end of Force Ghost, and it's going to make no fucking sense because there is no build-up. There should have been a build-up with him and his father as Luke is alive, if they did that, because he is a main character and a very powerful character in the Star Wars lore, which they never touched upon. And again, why are they going to... They're probably going to touch upon it in the last film, but really, out of all the films, you're going to wait until the very last film to touch upon these very important facts that probably should have been said in the second film at least, or the first film? I'm sorry, but Disney, you fucked up a lot of Star Wars. You really have. And I can understand the statements that Hamill's like, yeah, they should have listened to George. You should have listened to George. You really should have. But you didn't. And you fucked it up for a lot of people. Not to say that I hate this Star Wars Extended Universe. I'm just saying that I honestly enjoy the old Star Wars Extended Universe. I liked it how we had Mara Jade. I liked how there was that connection between Mara and Luke. I liked that Luke and Mara had multiple children, just like Han and Leia did. I liked all of that. It made the universe feel bigger, because they didn't necessarily need to follow... They could follow these characters, but there was also that giant bit of, hey, we've got a Jedi temple. We've now got Jedi back in the universe. We can follow them now. It really opened up the universe again, but this is narrowing it down. This doesn't feel open at all. Obviously, we have to wait for the next film, but, like, it just doesn't feel right. It feels like they're throwing away all the original trilogy stuff and go, our one's the better one. Ours is the future. Ours is the shitter version of what we are creating here. It's dumb. It's dumb. Now, I did the comedy. Alright, so I did the music and stuff. Alright, comedy. In The Force Awakens, there was comedy in it that I didn't like. You know, like the comedic bit of, what, I talk first, you talk first? What do we do? Like, that was dumb. Like, it's a very powerful moment with swelling music, and it's basically just like, so what, I talk first, so you talk first? Like, that was a stupid joke. But that was kind of the only joke that I saw in the film that I was like, yeah, that's dumb. The other jokes, I thought were more or less well done. Here they're so spot on as a Marvel film. It feels like a Marvel film. It's so spot on to the Marvel level of comedy that it's stupid. That shouldn't be in a Star Wars film. I'm all fine for certain comedy elements, and there were some good comedy elements that I liked. I liked how Luke's drinking that, I think, green milk or blue milk. I think, well, no, green milk. I liked how he's drinking that green milk and he's like, this is what my life is now. And I was like, that's kind of funny. It's a bit humorous. Or when he's, jumping over and he goes and gets the fish. I thought that was some good comedy there. But then you've got crap ones like, can he hear me? General Marks, who are you? Like, can you hear me? Like, on the phone? Yeah, hello, are you there? Like, what the fuck? Why was that even needed? If you're going to give us comedy in terms of Marvel films, just keep it to Marvel films. This isn't Marvel presents Star Wars. This is Star Wars. I mean, maybe in the comic books it's Marvel presents Star Wars, but still, it's Star Wars. Why are you giving us this shitty, over-the-top laughter bullshit? Jokes. Why? That really took me out of the film and was really dumb. Like, Luke, you can't be from nowhere. I'm from Jakku. That's pretty much nowhere. Like, wow. I'm sorry, but no. That didn't need to be there. And everyone's eating it up because, oh, Marvel does it, therefore it's awesome. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck. It's these films that made me respect and disrespect a lot of themes and ideas like critics. Fuck critics. Fuck critics up the arse. Fuck them to hell. They're stupid. The idea of critics that we're paying people with an opinion is bullshit. Some of them have a great idea of what they're saying, and some of them don't. This is a film. This Star Wars Disney films are the reasonings as to why I think I'm hating critics even more. They don't deserve their praise. There's a lot there that don't deserve their praise. Even in terms of filmmaking, they don't deserve the praise. Yet they chuck it away because, I know how to review a film. No, you fucking don't. You don't know how to review shit. This is not how I thought this would go. I thought I'd be able to go into a lot of depth, and I kind of have, but it's like, I'm also now very angry now that I think about it. But even in terms of filmmaking though, this is a good quality film in terms of filmmaking. The space fights, the visuals, the choreography, which was fantastic. But in terms of character depth, was even pretty good. But in terms of how it all comes together, even for the brighter universe, it takes it down. Even in terms of side stories, which is an objectively viewable thing to have for any film, was null and void and dull. Yeah, it was. And I'm sorry, but this is not a worthy of a 9. I think actually right now it's a 7. For me, this has gone from a 9 to a 7. Possibly to an 8 because, again, we've got to see what the next film brings it up. That's one of the big things with Star Wars. You have to see episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But so far, 7 and 8 are varying quality. Sorry about that. Another shitty thing. My fucking GoPro, I tell you. So, right now, the Star Wars universe is varying quality. It absolutely is. It's not like, when you create a sequel that makes the first film even worse, you got something wrong. Usually, if you make a sequel, it can make things good, better than from the first film, because it brings it together. No, not what happened here. Not what happened here. And honestly, I think even by the end of it, I'm going to say, yeah, Disney Star Wars films were shit. Maybe not overall, but in terms of what they add to the universe, what they take, and what they've done, I would say they're shit. Even in certain parts of filmmaking, actually, I think they're quite shit, which is very strange. Very strange, because Rian Johnson is a fantastic director. He's fantastic, yet you look at this and you go, he's got his style here, but it's missing something. It's missing that depth that he puts into it. And some of the depth he puts into it makes me go, this doesn't seem like something he would do. This seems like something that Disney would do because they want to fuck everyone over. I don't know. Yeah. So, this is basically now a 7, with possibilities of going to an 8 from the last film. But no, nowhere near is this a 9 or a 10. This is literally, everybody giving this a 9 and 10 are going all crazy like, oh, this is something so new. Oh, this is awesome. This is the perspective I wanted. But they're not pulling themselves back enough and having a look individually in a different perspective itself by saying they could have added more. Or, why did they do this? Why did they do that? Actually, this doesn't make much sense. Like, they don't bring that in. They don't do that, and it's disgusting that a lot of critics are like, best film ever made. No, this is not. This is a great sci-fi film, and a good Star Wars film, I think. Good, not great, not amazing, not epic. This is not up there with Empire Strikes Back, nor Revenge of the Sith. Hell, I would probably put it behind... I put it behind Attack of the Clones, alright? But again, for now, I need to get this on DVD, and I really want it on DVD or whatever, Blu-ray. I need to put it in my player, and I need to go through everything. I need to watch this film over and over again. I need to watch the deleted scenes. I need to look at the commentary. I need to know what else is missing here. And I need to know what he was thinking when he made this. I need to bring all this in before I can make a final decision. But even then, that final decision wouldn't come until the last film. So yeah, that's my big, long talk, which is definitely longer than the last one. So, yes, I was wrong. I've had a lot to go through it and say, okay, how was this film? And yeah, there's some objectively bad things and some objectively good things. The fight sequences, like I said, the music, the metaphorical side of Crate itself, dust, that was beautiful. The way that they brought it all together actually kind of rocked. But in terms of characterization, there's only really 2 characters that are really good. Rey's iffy as shit. She doesn't do much training, therefore her characterization of actually fighting makes no sense, and wanting to be a Jedi makes no sense. And Snoke, again, even though I'm sure he'll be back, is just iffy. The ships, though, I liked how they had different design ships, finally. I still think the First Order fucking sucks, because it's basically a Empire reject fucking whatever. But it was still better. It still opened up. And I did like some of the deconstruction this film did. This film did do some deconstruction moments really well. But also did it to fuck a lot of fans over, I think. So, it's definitely divisive, obviously. And it's going to be a film that everyone's going to complain about for, I think, a long time. This is going to be a film that people look back to and go, nah, it's fucking shit. Or, nah, it's fucking great. Or, it's in the middle. It's not that bad. Yeah. Anyway, Aussie Viking out. I shall see you in Valhalla. Bye.